Howdy there. A couple of days ago, I watched Sucker Punch. It was okay. I'm still wondering what the hell was going on. I'm going to give it a 5. And I think I'm being quite fair for that. I'm giving it a 5 because it's artistic vision, a singular artistic vision of Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder produced, co-wrote, and directed the film. So I have to respect that. This is what he wanted. As far as I know, this is his third film. Zack Snyder also did 300. He also did The Watchmen. I enjoyed both of those films. I thought 300 was good. It was different. I also liked the graphic novel. It was good. I really, really enjoyed The Watchmen. Watchmen is one of my favorite comic books, favorite novels, favorite things to read, period, ever. So Zack Snyder had the balls to make that movie. And honestly, I think his director's cut, I think they call it the ultimate cut. It's like the director's cut of The Watchmen combined with the animated film Tales of the Black Pearl, which I believe he also directed. When you combine those two to make like this 3.5 hour epic, I really think it's tremendous. I wish if they had released that in the theater, it would have been one of the best movies of the year, I feel. Here we have Sucker Punch, and I can almost, feel his joy about not making a movie for someone else. Making a movie for him, which again is why I'm giving it such a high score. Because I really had no idea what was happening at some times during this film. It's about a girl who accidentally murders somebody. She gets sent to a home. At the home, well, see, that's where I'm starting to wonder what's going on, because then it takes on multiple levels. And the problem is I don't think really much of anything happens. As soon as she gets to the home, she might as well just sit there and the rest of the movie happen in her head. Because I don't know what else happens. It just becomes this world of fantasy, and I don't know if these people are real. I don't know if she was really experiencing these things. And then the way the movie ended, I was just confused. Very confused most of the time. Maybe not very confused, but a little confused. And most importantly, I was bored. And maybe I could show you that back picture right there. If you can't make that out, that's a lot of hot chicks in S&M garb and with giant guns. There should be no reason that a picture like this should be on a boring movie. There should be nothing boring about that. But yet I was very bored. Maybe because I was confused, and maybe because the exact same thing happened over and over and over and over again for an hour and a half. Actually, almost 2 hours. Let's see. It stars... Now, I'm having to read all of these. I probably could have told you one name, maybe 2 names for the film. Actually, 3 names. I know Jenna Malone, I know John Hamm, and I know Scott Glenn. They're all in there. But we also have Emily Browning, Abby Cornish, Vanessa Hudgens, Jamie Chung, gorgeous, Carla Gugino, Oscar Isaac, and I told you John Hamm and Scott Glenn. Again, this movie is filled with beautiful women, and beautiful women in tight leather outfits and other fetish wear, and they're all firing guns, and they're all kicking ass, and, you know, they've katanas, and, you know, again, it's like what should be like even like giant fighting robots, what should be awesome is just, and it does look very good, but it's all just soulless. It's all just heartless. And at some points I really feel mindless. But it does look tremendous. Zack Snyder does have that ability. Well, all of his films have kind of looked the same in a way. It's all just kind of this, and I want to say it's kind of lifted from Michael Bay in a way, where just everything is shiny. And definitely, I mean, I think this film was all green screen. You know, most of it, 95% of it, I'm sure, is just all a big green screen studio. And that's the way what 300 was. I think that's most of the way that Watchmen was. Everything has that very computer-generated feel to it. Cartoon, everything shiny, everything is artificial. But I think his first two films had, you know, a story behind it. Again, they were adaptations of existing pieces of work. One, I know 300, like Frank Miller was there on set. I believe he was a producer, so he wanted to make sure his work turned out all right. And Alan Moore, of course, has nothing to do with the Watchmen film, but I think if you're going to make the Watchmen, you have a responsibility. And I think he stepped up to that. He realized that he had the responsibility to do his best job with that work. And also, I believe the artist, Gibbons, was a producer of that film, so at least he had someone to answer to. Here, he's just doing what he wants. And again, I do admire that. That's why I'm giving it such a high score of a 5, is because you can just feel him cut loose and do whatever he wants to do. And, you know, maybe that's not the best thing. You know, at least he gets to make his movie. I'll give him that. But I really wish it had more to say. Again, I was confused. You know, she, like, they say, watch her dance. Okay, so, okay, at this mental hospital, they also run a brothel. So the patients are actually unwilling, you know, call girls, prostitutes. They are unwilling, but they are. I guess because I think that was all in her head, but then when you're in her head, she goes to another space in her head, where, like, they say, watch her dance. And then she goes on these incredibly, like, you know, that's when anything happens in the movie, is when she's, like, imagining this, or something is happening, and all of her friends are there doing it too, trying to accomplish a mission. And then that mission is actually going out in the real world. I guess in real time, I don't know. But then what you think is the real world then doesn't turn out to be the real world, so it was just like you were watching something pointless inside of something pointless. You know, I don't know. I was just bored. Honestly, by the end of it, I was just like, when is this gonna be over? And again, that's my whole point, is when you look at that picture, you see that? You should never, when looking at that, think in your mind, when is this going to be over? You should be thinking, man, I hope this never ends. But you don't. You don't think that. So that, I mean, it did look very good. The special effects were tremendous. I mean, it looked photorealism, you know, photorealistic. You know, I bought it, you know, through visuals. It did look very good. The cinematography was fine. It's definitely a Zack Snyder film. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, again, looks, as you know, looks can only get you so far. You know, you've got to have a heart. You've got to have a soul. You've got to have a mind. And sadly, I think Sucker Punch lacks those things in spades. So really, I can't think of much else to say about it. I hope we get some more work from Zack Snyder. I hope he has a better idea to make for himself, because I'm no doubt he will continue to work for the studios. He will no doubt continue to produce, you know, good films of other people's scripts, but I hope he's, you know, comes back on his own with a much more, you know, soulful project. And I'd love to see him get away from the CGI, just to see what he can do in the real world. So that's Sucker Punch. I'm giving it a 5. Solid, you know, just because it is a singular artist vision. I just wish there was more to it. So that's Sucker Punch. It's a 5. Thanks.